The vision for today's guest is clearly on the right track. You'll meet him coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Real Estate Career Institute on the corner of 17 Bypass and Wachesaw Road in Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. We're focused on public service, and we're visiting with Senator Ray Cleary of Senate District 34, serving Horry, Georgetown, and Charleston counties. Good morning, Senator Cleary.
It's good to be here this early.
Very exciting to get you in at 7 o'clock on a Friday morning. Are you okay if we call you Ray just
Please
for 30
call
minutes?
me Ray. That's what everybody does that likes me. So.
Yeah, well, let's hear what about enemies. That's right.
But anyway.
Big opportunity to get you in, and of course the real excitement, you actually lived relatively close to here at one time, and you've known the Wacomaw for quite a while.
I live about 5 minutes from here, Greg, and it's just the best part of South Carolina, and it's a lot of senators are jealous that this is the area that I get to serve.
That's right, yeah. Horry, Jordan. Now you serve, just for viewers who are not familiar, obviously our viewers in the PD who may not have seen you live time, for folks who are not aware of this district, Senate District 34, is that a new district?
No, it was Arthur Ravenel's district, but after the census, they changed it, so it's now about 50% of Horry, 34%, 35% of Georgetown, and about 10, 15, 20% of Charleston, but it just goes right along the coast.
Right. Do you actually cross the waterway in Horry County? Or
I do not cross the waterway. It stays from the waterway to the ocean, so it's a real nice area, and it's a lot of common interest, so it's easier to serve because very tourist-oriented, very retiree-oriented, and I don't serve a lot of different constituent bases. It is basically a single focus. You're
known in two daily newspapers, the Post and Courier there, the Sun News, and of course the Georgetown Times, the Coastal Observer, pretty much that stretch.
Yes, sir.
So does it start in the Murrells Inlet area?
It starts actually just south of 501.
Okay, wow.
Hidden Harbor, Harbor Lakes, and then it goes south and kind of goes in and out, but basically from 544 south, it includes all Socastee, Garden City, and Surfside.
That is
and then all through the Wacomaw Neck.
Had you thought about service for a long time, Ray?
I've enjoyed service, but more public service with YMCA, Boy Scouts, Rotary, Sertoma, Kiwanis, Lions Club. I've enjoyed service. I thought at one point in time it would be nice to do public service as far as political office to give the everyday person a voice. But, you know, as a dentist, I'm kind of tied to my office. And even now, I work Mondays and Fridays and Wednesday mornings. And Mondays I work 7 in the morning seeing patients till 6. I work Fridays and, you know, go into the office today after work, after we're done with this. And then when the Senate starts, which is just January to June, I don't work Wednesdays in my dental office. And then I have 3 other dentists, so they cover me pretty well. Our office is staffed, you know, very well from 7 to 6, 5 days a week.
That is tremendous. That's the office on Glens Bay Road. Is that your principal or only office?
That's my only office.
Right. Very well known. And how long have y'all been there on Glens Bay Road?
Well, I opened my first office in Surfside in 1975. We moved to the new office. We moved to a second office on Glens Bay probably about 1985, and I built this office probably in 95.
Is that right?
So we've got a lot of friends in Surfside, Garden City, and Neck, and you know, we've had more friends than patients, I think.
I pass your office almost every day. My daughter attends the Learning Tree on Glens Bay Road, and and if she didn't see Dr. Winnie, we'd probably be in your office right up the street.
Dr. Newman's a great lady, and Learning Tree is just a great institution.
It is, absolutely. Are you originally from the area, Ray?
No, my mom was from Kentucky, my dad was from Cincinnati, but he worked for Internal Revenue, so I tell people everybody hated to see him. They just kind of dislike seeing me sometimes. But we moved around a lot. He was a little smarter than I am. He passed the CPA his first time, and we lived in a lot of different cities. And I kind of wanted to come back to the Carolinas. And when I graduated from dental school in 1973, I was in the Air Force and asked to serve in the Carolinas, was stationed at Shaw Air Force Base.
Sure.
Enjoyed being back, and then moved to Surfside Beach to open my practice in 1975.
That is tremendous. That's more than, I hate to say it, Ray, that's more than 3 decades ago.
You know,
32 years.
It seems like it went by quickly.
You were a mere babe, yeah, babe in the wool. That's amazing. That's think about that as the practice increases or changes. What about some of the big changes over the last 32 years? Anything that really stands out in your mind? You think about even for patients. Basically.
You know, they say that 55 to 60% of what we do now, we didn't do 30 years ago.
No.
Implant dentistry is probably one of the biggest changes that we do. Veneers, lumineers. So the practice has really gotten into the cosmetic phase, and probably 40, 50 years ago, many people only expected to keep their teeth till they're 50 or 60. Now, you know, we would no sooner want to lose a tooth than a finger, and so and we're blessed in this area with an educated clientele that understands that the teeth are important for health.
Right, absolutely. You know, it is amazing. I thought about getting a dentist down. It's a dentist that starts with an END, a dental professional there. And the Triangle recently was just talking to me about the tooth and breaking down all the aspects. And it was fascinating hearing how it can truly impact your entire body.
It can. And it's been a great profession for me. It was something that both my sisters at one time were hygienists. One's an attorney now, and the other's a graphic designer. So dentistry has been a great profession.
Right, right. I was reading recently the 2006 annual report for Beach First National Bank. Saw some exciting news, but in there also saw your name that cropped up. That was something you got pretty involved in, obviously very involved in back in the mid-'90s. Share with viewers real quick what that was like forming a bank.
Well, in 1981, in Surfside, a group of us formed a bank called Waccamaw State Bank.
Okay.
And I was on the board at that time, and we wound up doing a branch, and then we wound up selling those banks to Anchor Bank, which eventually sold to Carolina First. In 1991, some people came to us, 2 of my friends, and said they were interested in starting a bank. Mm-hmm. And I probably, because I had been on a board, I was chosen to be chairman of it. And we opened up, and it has been very, very successful. We built a green building, one of the first green buildings in Horry County, which is our new headquarters up on 38th Avenue. And it's a community bank, and we think it's the community bank, especially now that Anchor Bank, Coastal Federal are no longer local.
Sure.
So our headquarters is here. We're the only bank whose headquarters is in Myrtle Beach.
Is that right? The only bank that's physically headquartered in Myrtle Beach? That's right. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And so I think it's been good for the community, and I think we've served the area well. And I think we're viewed as the hometown bank, which is, I think, helps that community grow.
When you see the names of the folks, and I saw there in 06 in that annual report an 84% growth year to year, which was a tremendous record there. And of course with Walt Standish, I remember interviewing Walt 3 or maybe 4 years ago out at Myrtle Square Mall when the Herald was located there. Hearing him talk about the great opportunities he and Tommy Bouchette and David Morrow all in 1 week, and thinking about community banks. Obviously, those banks have changed. Tommy's no longer. there's no longer a Sun Bank. It's now SCB&T. Crescent Bank, of course, is going through a lot of excitement there.
And Crescent's a great bank. Their headquarters is out of Charleston.
Right, Community First.
And so Community First, and as I said, you said Sun Bank was bought by SCB&T. I think.
Right, SCB&T, absolutely. A lot happening, of course, recently, and as we think about your corridor there from more or less 501, the former Arthur Ravenel district, down into Charleston. What are some of the big issues that viewers may be thinking about right now that you hear as you're out on the street, or even meeting with your patients, seeing them on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday?
I think the 4 big issues are, number one, I think that we really saw last year crop up as coastal insurance, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I think roads. I think a lot of the people who live here feel like there's runaway growth, and we don't have control of the growth. And the 4th thing is immigration. And immigration is a real concern to many residents in here. And we do a survey every year. And I would say 80% of the people that actually respond to the survey, those are the 3 or 4 big issues that they really have, and they're very consistent on those issues.
What are some of When you see surveys like that, and speaking of immigration, what are some of the issues for residents in the Horry, Georgetown, and Charleston County area, or throughout the state? Is that a survey you all do statewide, or just in your district?
That's a survey I do in my district,
right.
But I do think that there has been some statewide surveys, and I think if you see it from a national level.
Sure.
And I think the bare minimum that we see is people want to know who's here. Mm-hmm. You know, how we handle it is one thing also, but they think we need to know that we have an idea of who actually is in this country and who is in this area. They worry about services and they worry about some other things, but it's as I said, it's a dividing issue. 2 years ago in the Senate, we couldn't even get 27 out of 46 senators to want to talk about it. Because in some of the rural areas they were concerned with their, you know, how they would get their crops, you know, picked and how they would get buildings, and even sometimes the chamber is ambivalent in the business community because they're using a lot of these workers. So it's a hard thing. We think it probably should be done nationally, but we have worked, and we do have a bill that we got through the Senate last year on illegal immigration that's in the House. And it is not as is not as much as I think we need to do. But one of the things that I put in there, along with Senator Campson, is that if we catch anybody forging documents, the people that we catch forging the documents would be responsible for any expenses or costs that were incurred by the state because of the use of those documents.
Business owners, for instance, yes.
Well, I don't think the business owners forge them as much as maybe some other people.
Oh, okay.
You know, I think with the business owners, we just need to be able to protect the business owners that when they find that they have the ability to know, is this person legal or illegal?
Oh, I get it. Forgive me. Sure, sure.
And that. So that's what we need.
Obviously, on behalf of small business owners like yourself and so many others, that's a fine line because, as we know, in the Myrtle Beach area with 2,700 restaurants, restaurateurs, to a great degree, are dependent on a large immigrant population in the Horry, Georgetown County area. So just for that industry, if it was only that industry, not hoteliers and not residential builders or commercial builders, a lot of folks are dependent on a very large Hispanic community.
And I think the business community, in some aspects, would like to do the right thing. But it's confusing because, you know, there's 15 documents out there that are floating around. And which ones in that? And South Carolina's done good. If you look at most of the illegals, they're not driving with South Carolina driver's licenses. They go up to North Carolina to get them. So in certain aspects, we have been proactive, and others we're working on it. And it's kind of like a little momentum thing. I think that, you know, 3 or 4 years ago when we introduced it, we budged a little, and now we're getting more traction. And I think the public is making the legislature aware that, you know, there needs to be resolution, and I'm hoping that we'll get it in the next session.
Good, good. I want to talk a little about all four of those issues. Of course, you talked about coastal insurance, runaway growth. There was another issue recently in our show sponsor, the Myrtle Beach Herald. I read a little piece about alcohol sales or beer and wine. Share with viewers a little bit about, just give them a quick summary maybe of what was written there in the Myrtle Beach Herald, and disclaimer there, obviously my paper. But
it was very good, and Tom Adair, the editorial writer, I give a lot of credit to. I enjoy reading his editorials, and he's usually right on point most of the time.
He and Steve Porter, that's right. Those two team up quite a bit.
They are very good, and I usually can't take any, and I can't give them any grief. But on this one, I can understand their confusion because this past year when we were doing it, what's happened is the beer manufacturers now are doing some custom brewing, and you know, and they're getting into some just like microbrewing, and so they're able to sell beers at a higher alcohol content. You know, 14% beers or 12% beers or whatever.